There's my audience. Yep. All right. So everybody's probably seen a story on the news regarding something related to a drug overdose or some kind of drug addiction problem. It seems like it's happening more and more every day. Today I'm going to talk about the success and failure rates of drug rehabilitation programs and the causes for relapse in addicts. I'll explain why the programs are just the beginning part of the drug addiction problem. I have to deal with this every day in my professional life as a trooper, and I've had personal effects from it. My father was addicted to alcohol, and it's completely ruined his life. So drugs are a huge problem in America, and it affects all walks of life. So let's talk about how big of a problem it is. The Center for Disease Control compiles all the numbers on all the overdose deaths that happen in the United States, and in 2017, there was 70,237 overdose deaths in the United States. That works out to be about 192 a day, or about one every 7.5 minutes. So by the time I end this speech, there will be another person that's died from an overdose. And these numbers are drastically climbing. They were up almost 10% from 2016, and roughly about 68% are related to opioids, which is heroin, oxycodone, fentanyl. It's even got so bad that law enforcement is now having to carry drugs that cancel out the effects of the heroin. The main one's called naloxone hydrochloride. So how do we fix this problem? First thing people think of is drug rehabilitation programs. Okay, so let's talk about how they work and what kind they are. The first one's going to be the inpatient treatment, and it's a very short, vigorous treatment. It deals with a lot of medical and counseling issues. The second one's going to be the residential treatment. It lasts from 2 to 3 months, and it focuses on changing your lifestyle and more use of peer counselors rather than medical staff. Most of those peer counselors being recovered addicts that have experience in dealing with these issues. Medical detox treatment relies on using medication to fight the effects of the drug and try to get your body from relying on that drug. And it takes a lot more time, so it lasts about 8 to 10 months to complete one of those programs. And an outpatient drug program is a program most commonly known as Alcoholics Anonymous, and they could last from upwards of 6 to 9 months to the rest of their life. So these aren't new. These have been around a long time. So why aren't they working? Or are they working? So let's look at some numbers here. So just for reference on these numbers, in order for one of these programs to be successful, the patient has to complete the program. So for the inpatient program, the one that lasts about 30 days, 73% of addicts completed it, and 21% remained sober after 5 years. A residential treatment, 51% completed it, 21% remained sober after 5 years. A medical detox, 33% of them completed it, 17% remained sober after 5 years. And the last one, the outpatient program, 43% finished them, and 18% remained sober after 5 years. These numbers are completely staggering. And the big reason why is unless they're court ordered to be in that program, they can just walk out any day they want. So why are these numbers so drastic? Why are the numbers for them completing the program so much higher than whether they remain sober afterwards? Well, when they're completing the program or during the program, they gain support and instruction on how to stay sober. But they need to continue that afterwards. So why do they keep on doing that? There's a website called Why Do Addicts Relapse? And they compile a list of reasons why the addicts relapse after they get out of the programs. The big one is returning to the same environment or hanging out with the same associates. So they get involved in the old crowd that they just left that influenced them to do the drugs in the first place. Next one is the duration of the addiction. If someone's addicted to the drug for 30 years or longer, it's going to be much harder to get them to remain sober. Lack of support by their family or their community or the friends or associates is a big one. Triggers, such as driving by an old hangout place or an old dealer's house or an old watering hole where they used to get their drinks or whatever they used to use. I mean, that could bring back some old memories and old ways of coping with issues. If they get involved in some stressful situations or stressful environments or even personal failures, that could turn them back to relying on that old drug. Self-pity, unemployment could put them into a low self-esteem or a depression issue. Medical conditions such as depression, pain, or fatigue could drive them back to their old ways of doing things. So in conclusion, we looked at a lot of statistics which are not promising regarding to the success of these programs. Basically, drug rehabilitation programs are just the first step. Addiction is labeled as a disease, and rehabilitation programs weren't designed to cure a disease. They were designed to just give you support and information on how to cope or survive with that disease. Everybody still here? Say bye.
Bye.